right, I'm going to take us off the intro loop. So I'm going to try not to make sure that things are looping on these live streams anymore. I see you, Morgan, down there. Let me know when you're ready. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, I'm going to bring you in just to make sure everything's working right. You got the doc. All is good.
Got the doc.
Did you
Ready
recently?
to go.
Did you recently get your hair did?
Like 2 hours ago.
Oh, it looks great.
Thank you.
Loving the color.
Feeling very luxurious for this podcast.
You should. Well, it looks good. All right. So I think we are ready to go and go ahead and get started if that's cool with you. All
Sounds
right.
good.
McGurk! I love
Not
typing.
mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things related to the CW Supergirl TV series and the character of Kara Zor-El and all things my adventures with Superman. My name is Rebecca Johnson.
I'm Morgan Glennon.
And we are live and wired on the DC TV Podcast YouTube channel and the Supergirl Radio Facebook page to discuss and review my adventures with Superman's 9th and penultimate episode, because I think there's only 10 episodes this season.
Ooh.
And this one is titled 0 Day Part 2. So we're getting a conclusion. Last time we talked about Part 1. Now we see Part 2, and we actually get a flashback of 0 Day. So we don't have any news. I'm going to save that for next week, because like the Flash movie came out on Blu-ray and stuff, and so we'll talk about all of that next week. We can discuss that next time. But for this episode of Supergirl Radio, let's get to discussing 0 Day Part 2 of my adventures with Superman. So the episode description from Max reads, quote, "Superman finally gets his answers to who he is and where he came from, while coming face to face with the General, leader of Task Force X. Meanwhile, Lois and Jimmy must find Superman before Dr. Ivo destroys Metropolis," unquote. I feel like that description is a little bit misleading, because it's not really Dr. Ivo destroying Metropolis. It's more like a giant monster creature, but we will definitely talk about that destruction. I think maybe where we should start, since this episode is titled 0 Day, I feel like maybe we should start with the 0 Day event, which is a flashback to the General and Mandy Waller as they are starting their careers in the military. So Morgan, what did you think about getting to see the 0 Day event?
Well, first off, I was a little bit disappointed because I wanted there to have been a torrid love affair between the General and Mandy. And I was trying
there could have still been.
There could have still been, but I was trying to read between the lines. And the chemistry just wasn't there. And I wanted there to be a forbidden romance where she's like, "Who are you talking to?" And he'd be like, "Mandy, we've talked about this before. It just won't work between you and I." And then there's a whole thing. I guess, they had to cut it for time. Anyway. So basically we have the background of how the General and Mandy know each other. They lived through this horrific alien invasion that involved just a lot of robots, a lot of giant mecha that came down and didn't destroy Tokyo Tower. So already I'm suspicious. Where are you guys at?
A lot of the same tech and robots that we've seen earlier on in the series. So yeah, they've made this would have been their first appearance as the tech robots coming to Earth. I don't know. Maybe there was something there with the General and Mandy, because he talks to her and then she says, "Don't Mandy me." So they're making a previous thing happening before the phone call. Because the phone call, I don't know. I want your take on this. Do you think that the general, who we do hear being called Sam, so I think it's maybe okay to call him Sam Lane, I feel like.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
feel like I can go out on that ledge.
so the general is caught by Mandy in the command tent talking to someone on the phone.
Yeah.
Did you think that was romantic? Because
I thought it was Lois's mom.
yeah, probably.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like the Mandy and General romance. It was like one of those things that they flew too close to the sun, right? It was too. It was just too. They burned too bright to last. And clearly now he's moved on. Maybe Mandy doesn't love it. You know, it's always tough to see your ex move on without you. But yeah, immediately when I saw he was on the phone with somebody, he was like, "No, you hang up." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's like Lois's mom for sure."
Yeah, Amanda Waller does threaten to kill him. She says, I'm gonna kill you. Like flat out says, I'm gonna kill you. And I couldn't tell if she was serious or exaggerating or what.
It's hard to tell with Amanda Waller because like what she thinks is a joke and like what normal people think are jokes, I think are two different things. And also like her playful ribbing is like, no, like I legitimately will slit your throat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, aren't we all laughing? Mandy, no, we're not.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure because maybe she was jealous and she was just gonna kill him anyway. But yeah, so they are out 22 years. So this would have been 22 years before the present day. So I don't know if that means that Clark was just born, if he's a newborn.
He was just a wee little baby in a pod, right?
So that's what I'm assuming. So I'm assuming he's 22, which makes him, if that is the case, if he is 22, then he's younger than Lois. I think they said Lois was 23 in one of these episodes.
Oh, okay.
So Lois is his senior, I think.
I guess it kind of makes sense though, because when the show starts, Lois is already an intern. This fun internship where they make them do an entry-level job but don't pay them, and capitalism. And then Clark is just starting the internship. So it does make sense if she's like a year older. She's already been doing it.
Yeah, so it does seem like the general puts it together after all of this with the interrogation of Superman that maybe Superman was not part of this Kryptonian invasion, because I guess we're supposed to assume that it's a Kryptonian invasion.
Yeah, so that was sort of where the whole thing sort of broke down for me, because in the flashback, there are these giant robots that like jump through like a wormhole or something, and they pew pew and they kill everybody except Mandy and the general. Their love was too bright to fade at that point.
Mandy did get shot though.
She did. Listen, she took some hits. It was a serious situation. I don't know what about that situation would have made me go, obviously they're from the same place as this guy who's super strong and has an S shield on. I could see if like, did I miss something where like the robots had the S shield or something? There didn't seem to be a big connection to me between this guy and the robots.
So you make an excellent point, actually. The main kind of robot tech looking guy did have, I think, like an outline of an S shield.
Okay.
But to your point, these robots didn't really have any of Superman's powers. I think there was like a heat vision or like something resembling heat vision or some sort of beam that came from like the center of its face.
Yeah.
But
I just wouldn't have made those connections. Like I think had I been attacked by a bunch of giant robots and then like 20 years later, an alien superhero shows up in the sky, I'd be like, weird, those things aren't related though. Like I wouldn't be putting those, like the red string would not be connecting those two instances in any way to me. So that's why like the whole episode I was a little confused, like where I was going, yeah, but like why would you think he was involved in your robot uprising? Like
do you think it was just because they were both alien in nature?
I feel like that's the only connecting fabric between those two things. So yeah, but I feel like just something as simple as having the robots have the S shield on them to me at least I'd be like, okay. And then this guy shows up and he's got the same symbol and you think, uh-oh, he must be from the same place and blah, 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 blah. But it seemed like a pretty big leap from like these giant robot technology things that we've taken control of and like turned them into our technology now. And this very like human looking dude are the same question mark
who has only been trying to do good things and help people.
Yeah, and also isn't a robot. I think that's the key point
That's
for
the
me.
main point.
It's like if I was attacked by a robot army and then like years later a single guy saved a bunch of cats from trees, I would not have put those two things in the same genre. I just wouldn't. I'd be like, these are two different fictional universes.
Okay, so I have a question for you. So even though we've established that doesn't make total sense,
Not a bunch.
from I guess the perspective of like General Lane. Or
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call him General Lane. That's who he
I
is.
mean, come on, that's who he is.
So the perspective from him shouldn't make sense because he's seeing two different kinds of things. But us as viewers, are we supposed to make the connections between the invaders' ships and the ship that we've seen from Clark at the farmhouse? Are we supposed to make
Ooh.
those connections? Because they did look similar. They were big,
They did look similar. Yeah. Now that you mention it.
and they did.
Yes.
It was these like two bits of the ship that like formed like it looked like an S shield at the top. The way they sort of fit together. So I wasn't really sure about that.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, but now I think that's definitely correct. Clark does mention like I'm pretty sure I remember like my pod, or I saw like some memory of my pod coming in with that army. So like
Yeah.
Clark himself knows, hey, yeah, maybe these are people from my planet or they're like involved in something with me, but you know, I was a little baby Clark, so obviously I wasn't like in this.
Yeah.
But
wasn't part
yeah.
of the planning.
Yeah, I was like from the perspective of like Project X, I don't know how you would make this leap. But from Clark's perspective, I think he was like so bummed because he was like, "Oh, I have a memory of this, or I've seen a flash of this, and so I have to be involved in this like robot army that came through."
Yeah, Clark basically says that he thinks he's a weapon, that he's been put on Earth to let's see, what does he say? I'm going to go into my notes because he says something really heartbreaking because I think, you know, he's been this whole season trying to figure out who he is and where he comes from, and he says he thinks he's made for destruction. And he thinks he's a weapon. He's an alien invader sent to kill them. So he's not getting answers that seem very positive about his history. So I think that's pretty devastating for Clark. So I hope this is not the full story. I have a feeling that he maybe has a different part of the story. So it would be interesting, though, I guess, if they changed a little bit of his origin for this version of the character. I would be okay with that, actually, if that was the case. I think, though, in this episode, Superman does... so there's a really interesting bit in here because Superman asks Lois, "Remember when you asked me who I was?" And of course, I was laughing because I was like, yeah, you asked her that in every episode. That was a question that you asked. But at the end of the episode, he seemed to answer his question of who am I? Because Ivo says, "You turned me into a monster." And Superman said, "You chose to be a monster, Ivo." And Ivo says, "Well, what does that make you? And what does that make an alien freak like you?" And Superman asks, "Don't you read the paper? I'm Superman." So I think he finally, in this episode, answers the question, who am I? I think he's finally gotten the answer.
He's like, Superman, baby.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we could have answered that in the first episode, but
yeah, I feel like we had maybe already gotten there like episodes ago, but I'm glad that like he's thought to himself, look at you.
Yeah.
This guy's Superman.
he's gotten there now. So I liked at the end of the episode that did come back around and he figured out who he was. So I was glad to see that. Did you have any other thoughts about Task Force X? I guess we could talk about from here. The big fight between Superman and Ivo. Was this a pretty typical anime fight? Big monster through the city? Was that leaning on the anime aesthetic that they're going for in the show?
I think so. Although Big Monster in the City is first off would be the amazing song title.
Yes.
I would listen to Big Monster in the City. Like, oh my God, have you guys heard of Big Monster in the City? Their sound is like so unique. I only have one voice and it's annoying hipster girl. But I think that's also sort of a very traditional superhero genre. So another instance where I think the anime inspiration and the superhero inspiration meld perfectly together, because we've seen these, big city fights in a lot of superhero media, and we see them all the time in anime. That's why Tokyo is always getting destroyed, and that tower is never safe. Yeah, I thought that they did a really good job with the fight sequence here. I thought it was like really interesting. And then at the end, when Superman burst through Ivo's, giant mecha that he's become, enmeshed in, or whatever was happening inside of there, I didn't really want to know too much about it. You see him like go through it like a line, and like the background kind of changes. That's classic anime stuff. That's like a classic samurai thing. It could only be more anime if like somebody got chopped in half and didn't realize it for a split second.
Yeah, I thought in my limited anime experience, I was sort of getting that it was anime in context. And I just want to stop real quick. I feel like we're not seeing the chat. Are you getting that idea, Morgan? I know we're live.
Yeah, I'm not seeing much chatter. Not
but
as much as usual.
On YouTube, I see the chat. People are chatting. So I just want to recognize to everybody who's hanging out with us in the chat. It looks like
StreamYard, what have you done?
It looks like there's some people hanging out with us.
I just thought everyone was really quiet this time.
I was a little concerned, but just so that everybody knows, if we're not pulling up your comments, it's because we don't see them for some reason. But it looks like you're there. Let us know in the chat. Yeah, Mark says we've been secretly silenced. It's a conspiracy. So
it goes all the way to the top.
It apparently does. So our apologies to the chat. Don't know what's going on. So we can't pull up your chat on the screen because for some reason
This is so weird.
We don't see it. That's bizarre.
I would say this is the first time StreamYard has let us down in this particular way before.
I don't know. This comes at the heels of Instagram going wonky today with the Instagram Reel audios, where they like removed all the audio from every Instagram Reel I've ever posted, and then they added it back and gave me like 50 tiny heart attacks. But I'm not real pleased with technology today, but it does look like people are hanging out with us. So thank you for hanging out with us. And actually, Morgan, if you want to pull up the YouTube link, you'll be able to see the chat there as well. But the chat's actually pretty funny. I wish we could access the comments.
That's so funny.
But Brian says, we're here, honest. And Mark says, you're missing some good stuff. And Electra WWF says, we've been chatting a lot. So I'm glad everybody is having a good time. Carrie says, there's gold in this chat here. So I bet there is.
There's gold in them there chats.
So I know for some reason, like we couldn't see who was watching, and we couldn't see any comments. So we were like, is it just, it would be fine if it was just Morgan and me hanging out.
We can hang.
I would be totally fine with that. But I was missing the chat, so I just wanted to make sure that that we were live correctly. So yeah.
I missed some Big Monster in the City jokes.
What are some good ones? I guess we could read them.
I see them. Mark said, "Big Monster in the City, running wild and looking pretty." That's part of the song, obviously.
Yeah. So I like that everybody is hanging out and having fun in the chat. So feel free to keep chatting amongst yourselves if you are. And thank you for being with us tonight. So Dr. Ivo becomes Parasite. He I guess the premise was sort of like the Parasite character, where the Parasite character gets powers from Superman, taking his powers. If Superman punches him, he can absorb that power and that energy and become stronger. And so I guess that's the same premise here, but he's using electricity to be able to grow bigger and more powerful. I guess I was sort of struggling with the premise of this.
It was like, I guess his suit can absorb powers because he did that before the first time he fought Superman. So now he can also absorb electricity, and the power of buildings is making him stronger. It's like, I will get on your Wi-Fi.
I suppose maybe Dr. Ivo, in his downtime, while he's been locked up with Task Force X, he's been like, I'm going to improve on my suit. I think I can make this better. So the premise is now that he, like, Livewire can touch him and electrocute him a little bit, and that gives him a little more juice. And so he's going around the city, taking all the power from all the buildings and the lights and all the things that are powered by the city. So what I wanted to talk to you most about, Morgan, was the way that they defeat Dr. Ivo / Parasite. Because it's not necessarily just Superman who does it, although Superman plays a big part in it.
I would say that the way that they defeat Ivo is something that I would argue we're a little bit familiar with. Hello, darkness, my old friend. It's the Hope speech back again. I almost died. I was like, when I say that this show is giving me everything I want and need, I mean, I'm serious. It's giving us comic references. It's giving us the News Kid Legion. Now we got a Hope speech. It feels like we're home.
Yeah, it feels like it's being written for us a little bit.
I know.
They even put Mixie in there. I mean, just so much.
I feel like season 2, we're gonna get a snapper car.
Oh my gosh.
He's gonna lose those hands. They're gonna be robot hands.
I mean, it would play in perfectly with this.
I'm gonna start like sending in pitches, notepads. No, I thought that was so funny that they did a Hope speech, a live stream Hope speech. I vaguely remember Kara trying to pull that off, and it didn't go so well for her. I feel like her sort of Hope speech medium is more like like more one direction, right? Like she doesn't want the comments back. She's like, why is everyone on the internet so mean? It's like, oh, Kara, welcome to hell. Meanwhile, Jimmy was like, yes, my flame bros.
Yeah, he had let's see, 10,756 viewers watching him live on Flamebird. He calls them, I don't guess they're the Flame Bros. I wonder if the Flame Bros are the other Jimmy Olsens in the League of Lois Lanes, but here he calls them Bird Watchers. He's called his viewers Bird Watchers.
I like that.
I feel like Supergirl Radio live chatters need a name like Bird Watchers.
Yeah, we need to think of something. I would say tell us in the chat, but we can't really see that. I did want to pull up something I saw in the chat because I'm now tabbing back and forth, so I look like a lunatic on screen. But I saw somebody mention that we had missed. Electra WWF said you missed us pointing out the symbols on the attack robots were the Brainiac symbol.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I didn't either.
Oh, that would actually make more sense if it was a Brainiac armada.
That would make a good amount of sense.
So if that is the case, that is something that I could buy into. So if you're in the chat and you want to come up with a name for the live and wired chat, feel free to nickname yourselves if you would like that. But you don't have to. But I'm just saying, like, if you want to.
If you want a fun nickname, we're open to fun nicknames.
Yeah, we're totally fine with that. If you want to give us nicknames, that's, I think, fine too, within a reasonable way of doing it. That would be totally fine. So Lois gives the hope speech, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah.
She needs to. She knows Superman pretty well, so I think she can speak to the ways that Superman has helped to save the city.
Okay.
Oh, we have a
Bunsen.
guest.
Bunsen, hello. Hello, buddy. Oh, what's going on? Hi. Oh boy, really? Right now, huh? Bunsen said, I have my own hope speech. It said, I hope for dinner to be served every hour on the hour.
Has he already eaten dinner?
He has eaten dinner already, but he wants more. That's what he's telling me. He would love some more dinner, some additional dinner,
Second
Buddy.
dinner.
He's like a hobbit. He would have like 11 Z's. But buddy, what's going on? We're gonna pick a way to maybe we sit up here if we want to, but we can't just stand. No. No. Bunsen. No. Not the cords. Always the cords.
Oh, see,
Always
Bunsen doesn't normally go after the cords, does he?
Always the
Oh
cords.
no, he is pulling a beaker.
He is going with the cord. No, buddy. So
That's-
gentle. Don't go for the cord. No.
That's usually a beaker thing.
It is. It's
Really?
usually a beaker thing. Bunsen's feeling the chaos tonight, though.
Well, let me know if at any point I need to pull up the lab cat emergency
Oh, we might.
video.
We do need that because he's found a hair tie.
Okay. Okay, I think we've
We're all good now.
we've avoided the issue.
We've lost the hair. We've lost the hair tie, haven't we? We're giving up on the cords, aren't we? We're just gonna give some feedback. And no, okay. He's gonna knock over the light now. That's
Oh
it.
yeah, he's
It's
got to
fine.
go for the light. That's what
It's fine.
Bunsen
Listen,
likes.
we all have things. We all have things in our lives. I don't remember what we were talking about before Bunsen came around.
I think
so-
we were talking about Lois and the Hope speech and how she is an appropriate one to give the Hope speech because she knows so much about Superman. But she's using the method of the live stream, the Birdwatcher Flamebird live stream. And I don't know, Morgan, did you check out? They had a live chat going on the.
They
the live
did.
stream.
I kept trying to pause it to be able to like read the chat comments, but I couldn't. But I saw that you put a bunch of them into the doc.
Oh no!
And
Oh no!
buddy, hey,
Oh wow! He's really going after your chords there.
maybe we just want to leave them. Maybe we want to leave them alone. No. Hey, hi. What's going on?
He was really chewing on those earlier. Is
He was going to no. I see that you see them. I see that you see them. Hey. No. Let them.
I wonder if you could give them like something resembling a cord that they can chew on, like something that's more cat edible
more
friendly.
cat friendly than an actual power cord. Yeah.
I think Bunsen wants to become like Parasite, like Dr. Ivo.
I think he's his secret wish is to become like Livewire. He's like, it's me, I'm live and wired. As he bites into a power cord. Buddy, come on. Okay, he seems like he's no. I've spoken too soon. He's still in here.
Well,
it's okay.
in that case,
We're
would you,
adapting.
would you like to go through the live chat from the Flamebird
I would
live stream?
love to.
Because I wish I could have gotten screen caps, but I'm an old lady where I'm like, how are people getting video from this show? So I don't know exactly how people are getting video clips and screen caps from certain things. So I don't have screen caps to of the live stream. So I made my own. So I hope that's okay.
I
But
love it.
but I wanted to put these up here so that everybody can see them. So I documented as much as I could from the live chat, and we can talk about the funniest ones.
Fat Grant is. I'm scared of how hot he is.
Yeah, Flame Turd says I'm not scared of Superman, and she says I'm scared of how hot he is.
I also like Superman loves cats. So this is like a way that we can bridge what's happening to me in my personal life into this episode.
Yes, there is a follow-up to that chat comment at Fireflock78 says about cats, so we can get that. What I thought was interesting is that so we've got some familiar characters here. So Lori Lamaris 59 is there.
She's back, baby.
She's very active on Flamebird's channel. I guess this is the first time that Jimmy has put his I didn't think it was the first time Jimmy has put his face on the channel. I thought he had done a video before where he was talking to the camera, but at Flameturd, TURD, all capital letters for some reason, it says Flamebird face reveal. So I guess this means that Jimmy had not put himself on camera before, and following the face reveal comment at Cat Grantapult, which I think is a great name, this person says he's cute, and at Lamebird78 says mid. So they are really judging Jimmy's appearance. But at XX Flameherd XX says 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Not bad, Jimmy. Not bad at all.
So Jimmy's doing pretty good. I like the next kind of set of comments.
I really like Walk of Shame Bird because this really gives me such a sense of place. Like, this guy is definitely from the UK. He goes, streams on, lads.
Yes, and I think that's actually a pretty common live chat thing that somebody might say. So I think that's pretty funny. So there's also a chatter in the live chat, which I think we need to point out. At Steve Bird says, wait, doesn't this guy work for the planet? So that's definitely Steve.
Steve, I think you know. He works for the planet. Steve Bird.
The Nah channel has been hopping in the Flamebird. And at Flame Broseph 94, which is a fantastic name.
Great name.
Says after Steve Lombard said, hey, doesn't this guy work for the planet? This person says he works for the people. So I think that's very profound. What a profound thing to say. Then it also makes me laugh that Lois, when Lois joins the live stream, do we have a visitor?
He just like flopped down into me. It was very cute. But of course, as soon as you put the camera on, he decided he didn't want to do it anymore.
Yes, he's shy now. Okay, so we'll go
shy now.
We'll go back to the
back to the live stream.
So Lois joins the stream to give the hope speech, and everybody is confused why Lois is there. At Bibonculus says, wait, who is this? At Lori Lamaris 59 says, she ain't Flamebird.
Lori's turning.
At Pete Ross 61 says, Flamebird GF reveal. So some people think that Lois is Jimmy's girlfriend. And then at Lana Lang 5050 says, oh my God, I love your hair.
So supportive from Lana.
Very supportive. I appreciate that. So people are very confused about why Lois is there. And Steve hops back in the chat, says, told you he works at the planet. And at XX_FatGrant_XX says, I don't know this woman. A lot of confusion about who Lois is.
Come to Brazil is my favorite.
Yeah, at username 01, which is a very basic username, I guess. So there's also, I mean, Steve Lombard is all up in this chat. He said at some point, he says, I got to move. So at another point he says, I got to move to Gotham. I'm moving to Gotham with all this going on.
But Steve's ready to go. Steve's getting out of town.
Steve is not happy about what's going on in Metropolis. At the very end of the live chat, we get another comment from at Fireflock78 saying he saved my cats. So that's why this person thinks that Superman likes cats.
Oh, yay.
And there's some people chiming in saying he saved my mom at the bank. And my cousin was on that bus, I guess, that had gotten saved. So so a lot of people
my favorite random comment, I think, besides come to Brazil, is I heard he's Puerto Rican. What I don't know how that comes into the equation in any way, but that does feel like a live chat.
Yeah.
Just
and
one random non sequitur in there.
Clark doesn't know. Maybe he does, have some Puerto Rican in him. You don't know. I mean, he doesn't really know who he is. And I also like that at Flame Turd thinks this whole thing is a deep fake. So there's a lot of questions about the validity of what's going on in Metropolis. So I really enjoyed going through the live chat. Reading it actually made me feel like I was reading a live chat. So I thought it was pretty authentic.
I think they did such a good job with the live chat. I could tell that there were some funny ones in there, but the pause feature on Max is very bad, as is the rewind, as
Yeah.
are most of the features. So like I was trying to like pause and then go back, and I gave up after like the second or third time I tried to do it. I was like, whatever, I can't read these, and it's not going to let me.
Yeah, it was hard. It took me a little while to get those notes down, but I figured it would be worth it in the end. Let's see.
Rachel
I'm looking at our live chat to see what they're saying.
I know. I
about-
see Rachel in the chat said, I also just realized Flame Bro Safine Campbell was a shout out to Josie Campbell, who is one of the writers on the show.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
I figured there were some folks in here that I think would have been. I mean, there was obviously like a Cat Grant reference, a Lana Lang reference, Lori Lamaris, Steve Lombard. So there were some Pete Ross, familiar names in there. At CM Gutier 74 asks in the chat, do you think that Fat Grant is Cat Grant? Do you think that was actually Cat Grant, or do
Ooh.
you think that was just like a Cat Grant fan?
I don't know. I feel like if Steve is bullying Jimmy on his off time, that feels like something Kat might do as well.
I think she might be keeping tabs on him. I would not be surprised. Yeah, and New Rachel points out that there was a username that said Cadmus Truther on it. So
That's funny.
So there were some good live chat handles there. So I appreciate that Jimmy's got a really dedicated, engaged audience. Things are really looking up for Jimmy's channel, and the Flamebird brand. I think things are looking up. He's got 5 million subscribers.
5 million subscribers. He's gonna start getting that that revenue sharing from I don't know what their YouTube version is called, VideoTube or something.
MetTube or something. I don't know.
Exactly.
But I actually thought this method of getting the word out was pretty effective.
It seemed to work. Yeah.
I don't know if a YouTube live stream would be the one to do it. Or do you think like an Instagram stream or like I know TikTok has a live stream feature.
Yeah.
What's your professional opinion? Do you think that people would be more likely to share a YouTube or an Instagram stream?
I guess it depends on like how old the people are that you want to reach. Do you want to get to Gen Z? Then probably YouTube or TikTok. But like, if you want to get to the olds, you're probably gonna have to go Instagram. That's where I see my stuff.
Or would you even go further back to Facebook?
If you really need, like, that's my critique, is that like suddenly all the power went out in every building, which to me feels like something that you would need to get like done from like a building level, and I feel like you're gonna need to reach those guys on Facebook. They're posting those big all text statuses with like the hearts in the background that's like, had chicken soup today. And that's where you're going to want to reach them.
Maybe Jimmy's Flamebird channel can multi-stream. So maybe it's going to multiple platforms, and that can hit
kind
everybody.
of like StreamYard can. Although I guess in that scenario you wouldn't be able to see the chat.
No, you wouldn't be able to see the chat. I'm gonna have to investigate this. I don't know why that has happened for this episode. But we know you're there. We just can't see you on our end. But yeah, so I thought that was actually pretty smart. Like, that made sense to me, that if you live streamed it, it would have more of an immediate effect than like putting it out on a news broadcast, or I don't know what else you could have done.
Yeah, I know. My one question was like, it didn't seem like he needed everybody in the city to turn off their power, but more specifically, like those 2 buildings that the monster was like sucking the power out of. It'd be like, hey, if you're on the building on like 10th Ave, could you just like shut off your lights? Nobody else really needs to. If you want to in solidarity, that's amazing. But he's like currently sucking out your Wi-Fi right now.
I did enjoy that we got to see people looking at their laptops and tablets and their phones and stuff. So they didn't shut off all the power.
Yes.
There were some things that were still on. And even I think there was a shot of Kat and Steve Lombard and and I think Ronnie and some of the Daily Planet crew where is Bunsen doing something?
I just wanted to take a picture of where Bunsen has been sitting for the last 10 minutes.
Wait,
Which
hang
is right over your shoulder, staring at me very judgmentally.
Do you think direction? And so
I
like
think so. I think so.
like,
He's
trying
like,
to make
I'm here still. I'm still here. All right, bye, buddy. It's been great. He finally jumped off.
he'll be back. I have a feeling.
That was, I think, the longest he's ever decided to come and hang out.
We don't get a lot of Bunsen time like that. That's usually a Beaker thing.
We'll take our Bunsen time.
He really just kind of came in and did maybe he's subbing in for Beaker. Beaker was too busy doing something else, and so Bunsen was like, "No, I got it tonight. I'll take it."
Beaker's busy. He's got stuff to do. I'll make the appearance. I'll bite the wires. I'll eat everything on the desk. I'll do it.
I'll take one for the team. But yeah, so reaching everyone through the good old Flamebird channel with the 5 million subscribers seemed to work out and was able to depower the Ivo monster at enough of a rate that Superman could get in there and take Ivo out. So I really enjoyed that.
I did see a comment in the chat from Carrie who says Perry's going to be pissed that they didn't feed the message straight through the Daily Planet socials.
I mean, that's true. I feel like that could be a case where, like, if you could do a collaboration. So if you could live stream
let's collab that.
Two channels, I think that would be a little better.
I feel like Jimmy is going to get like a serious talking to about like using Daily Planet resources and like sources and things like that to grow his YouTube channel.
I don't know why he didn't, because but what if the Daily Planet didn't have as big of a reach?
Maybe they don't have 5 million subscribers.
So
like
in that kind
does.
of in that kind of an emergency, I think if Flamebird had more,
he probably didn't have the time to be like, Perry, I need the login for the Daily Planet YouTube. He's like, this is like a life or death situation. I just got to go to my Flame Bros.
Yeah, so that is a good point. Okay, so what have we not talked about yet? Okay, so I guess we could talk about the reunion that everyone has with Superman, and one of the best things about this episode, in my opinion, is that the News Kid Legion comes in and says, hey, we're on the case. We know the streets of Metropolis better than anybody. And we've got big words out there. We got Gabby out there. Even Patty's helping. They have low expectations for this Patty character because they're like, even Patty's jumping in. We didn't think Patty was going to help Pat at all, but Patty's in it. And so Flip and her News Kid Legion are in there to go and try to find Superman. And one of the things I really liked about this episode is that Flip is the one who gets to find Superman when he gets out of Task Force X, because Flip is the one who says, when I think of helping Superman like he helped me, I don't feel so small. So I thought it was a nice touch that when Superman gets out of Task Force X custody, Flip is the one who gets to find him and bring him back to the News Kid Legion Clubhouse, which has their own News Kid Legion branding and logo, which I thought was great. They've thought of everything. These news kids, they've got it all settled and figured out. But also at the end of this episode, one of the reunions, Superman and Lois have a big kiss midair off the Daily Planet roof.
Ooh, very romantic.
Yes, I got the light coming in through their faces. So it was a big moment. If you're a big fan of the Superman and Lois Lane relationship, it was a great moment. And I guess the big thing at the end, because this show is so good with cliffhangers, is that Jimmy has now found the orb that has the I guess footage of an evil Superman. So what do we think is going to go on there? Does Jimmy talk about that on his Flamebird channel?
Oh, I hope not. I would hope. I wonder if Jimmy is going to talk to Lois about it, and they're going to have like a discussion about like what does this mean that there's out there in the universe are a couple of evil Supermans, but. Yeah, I would hope that he doesn't go to his YouTube channel. It's got 5 million subscribers now. He's not just talking to 7 people anymore. So, with great subscribers comes great responsibility, Jimmy.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what he does with that information because Lois has figured out this information, but she's kept it inside because she is pretty sure that the Clark she knows, the Superman she knows, is not the same guy. But now with Jimmy figuring it out, I think they're going to be like pretty skeptical of what's going on. So I'll be curious to see what happens with that. Before we wrap up this discussion, Morgan, is there anything else you wanted to talk about this episode that we didn't get to?
I think they left us on another like a double cliffhanger, like a double good cliffhanger, because we have the one with Jimmy, but we also have one with our favorite forbidden romance, Mandy and the General. You see, Mandy has staged a coup.
Oh yes.
And she's the captain now. And she wants to kill Superman. I thought that was quite. I mean, I guess I kind of saw it coming, but it was still quite the twist. And then we'll have to see what the General is going to do now, because I feel like he actually was pretty convinced by Superman's like earnest, like upset at the whole concept of like seeing what happened on what is it, 0 Day,
right?
And I think the General's starting to believe Superman. This General might be like starting to have a little bit of a change of heart. Mandy, however, she's like, I don't have a heart, so that's not a worry for me. Mandy's still like, we're taking him out.
Yeah, the General interrogates Superman and asks him, who are you and why are you on Earth? And Superman doesn't know, and he cries and he says, why would they do this? So I think that really touched the General, because he realized that maybe Superman actually doesn't know anything about this. And I think it's interesting because Mandy says she questions Sam's commitment and asks him if his doubts are because Superman reminds Sam of her.
Ooh, who is her?
Do we think the her is Lois?
Maybe. I think that would make a lot more sense than I was like, who could her be? And like trying to think of like other characters that it could be, but it's almost definitely Lois now that you mention it.
Because Lois is, I think, written about Superman. I think did she get an article published? Because there was one article where everybody else took credit for her article. But maybe Lois has been talking to him about Superman. I don't know. So that was my assumption, that the her was Lois that they were talking about. So we'll see if that comes into play. I wonder if we'll get in the finale, if we'll get the connection between Lois and the General. I don't know if we'll see that. I don't know if we'll get that confirmed visually. We got a mention of Sam in there, but I don't know that we have had Lois and the General in the same scene together, so I'd be curious to see if we get that. Okay, well, I think that covers pretty much the rest of the episode. I think we got it.
I think that was most of it.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on this episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
I liked this one. I thought it was really well done. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. We got the big romantic kiss at the end, and the I love yous. Like, seems a little soon to me. I mean, but still good for them. Those 2 crazy kids are making it work. I love Jimmy using the Flame Birds channel for good. Cacaw indeed. I thought this was a really good one.
Yeah, I liked this episode. I thought the action was really good. I thought there was some good romance, a lot of good story development and background, and furthering of Superman as a character. I thought was especially good in this one, because I think he's finally learning something about his past and his people, sort of. If those are Kryptonians, they might be Brainiac's people, but that's kind of tied in. So he's getting more information, at least, about the time when he landed on Earth, and more about who he thinks he is. So I'm glad to see that development for Superman in particular. But I thought all the characters were great, and it was good to get some more backstory. Well, I think that's going to do it for our thoughts. So, Morgan, let's get into some listener feedback.
Yeah. So we have an X/Twitter post from Mark who writes, "Hi, ladies. All I have for 0 Day Part 2 is that in the flashback when Mandy, I can call her Mandy, right? We're all friends, runs into the tent to get the general, or maybe just the major back then, she calls him Sam. Sam Witwer, maybe? Laughing, crying emoji. It's definitely Sam Witwer.
Definitely Sam Witwer.
Yeah.
I think
we've cracked this one wide open.
I would love to see a Superman live action series or movie in which Sam Witwer gets to play General Lane. I think he would crush it. I think he could totally do that. So maybe in the future, someone bring Sam Witwer back into the Superman mythos and give us Sam Witwer as Sam Lane. I think that would work.
We approve it.
Yes. Okay. So we also have an email from Ryan, and keep your eye on the chat, Morgan, in case the chat's still hopping over there.
Sure, of course.
that we can't see, but we'll get into Ryan's email. So Ryan writes, quote, "Hi, Rebecca and Morgan. I have been listening to your podcast since Supergirl ended, the TV show, but have not been able to write in. Loved hearing my feedback/snap judgments featured in your anniversary episode special, hearing your hilarious takes on season 1 and the changes that befell the show after, your love for Lulu and how she is perhaps the greatest super pet or supervillain pet around, and how you are now reviewing my adventures with Superman. I'm currently only on your podcast after episode 4, as I am listening to them after I watch the episodes, and I am well behind. But I wanted to say how I am loving the show and its different yet weirdly comforting takes on the Superman mythos." That's a really good way to put that. That it does feel comforting, and I in that my adventures with Superman, I can easily jump in. Like, I feel like this is a Superman take that I can understand and be part of. So it's not something that I'm like having to force myself to sort of sink into. I feel like it just kind of was very comforting to me in that way, that I could just jump into it, even though it is a very different take on the Superman mythos. It does feel very comforting. So I think it's a good way to put that.
I did want to say that in the chat there are some other alternate Sams. Mind the Gap says Sam Rockwell. Electra WWF says, "What if it's Sam I Am?" And Mark HV1 says Sam Elliott. Now I don't know, but I do love the idea of a General Sam Elliott.
Let's do it. Let's
showing up. Let's do it. Yeah.
Would that make the show a Western though? Because I feel like if you have Sam Elliott,
you
might as well make it into a Western.
You're gonna have to pivot just a little bit. We're gonna season 2 is all Cowboy Bebop inspired. It's a space Western now.
I would love that, actually. I think we should go that direction. Okay, so Sam, we just talked about Sam. I want to go back to Ryan.
The many Sams.
So Ryan actually has some snap judgments for us. So I think in honor of Ryan, I think we need to make some. In the game of snap judgments, each person is presented with 2 options, but must only choose one. First instincts are recommended and explanations are unnecessary. Okay, Morgan, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. Okay. So, would you rather never have My Adventures of Superman answer the question of who am I, or find out that the answer to who Clark is that he is the boss of Leviathan on Supergirl? After Crisis, we learned anything is possible, so I'm saying this counts.
Okay, so
we either never find out who am I, or the answer to who am I is the head of Leviathan.
I like the second one. I really like this twist of Clark Kent being the head of Leviathan. I think I would be into it because then we can still we can have that lingering question on My Adventures with Superman, whatever. But I think we
But
need
we'll
that
know.
closure. Yeah, well, we understand based on the Superman character. We know who he is.
We know
So we
who
can
he
kind of put that to the side. We don't have to have it
Or do we know who
explicitly.
he is? Dun, dun,
Oh.
dun.
I still want him to be the head of Leviathan.
I feel
That'd be
like
a great twist.
this would give like a real sort of dark edge to this Superman who's like very happy go lucky, but like in the corners he's controlling this glow. He's like, I really love virtual reality. This is a thing that everyone should know about me, Clark Kent.
And hopefully that would mean that he would get some time with Pencil Skirt.
Yeah.
Rama Khan.
Our good buddy Pencil Skirt, our even better buddy Ramakant. What if he's out there, helping him grow some grapes, helping him stomp those grapes, I Love Lucy style? We don't know, but we could find out.
Who better to stomp some grapes than Superman, honestly? He would get those done really quickly.
Oh, amazing. Okay, I love that. I think we're both in agreement. Leviathan. Does it make sense? No. Is it character correct? Also no. Do you want it? Yes. Okay, our next snap judgment. Would you rather have Jimmy have his camera run over by a car on the show and he becomes Flamebird? Enter caw sound. Or find out that one of Jimmy's followers is actually Supergirl herself, and she is in a pod trying to get a message to her cousin Clark that she is stuck in the Phantom Zone and trying to use Jimmy's channel to do it.
Oh my gosh, it's got to be the second one. I want
that's really
Supergirl to come into play with the Flamebird channel because Supergirl in the comics has been Flamebird. So I think the synergy would go well together. So that's how I want to see it.
I think the second one as well, because Jimmy's already Flamebird. He doesn't need a tragic backstory to become Flamebird. He's already done it. He's doing it. He's already up to 5 million subscribers. He doesn't need help, baby. He's figured it out. But getting Supergirl on the show is very important to me personally. So I would love that. And we know that she already understands that the internet is trash, but she knows how to give a good hope speech. So like next season, they would be completely fine in any scenario. That was another great one. These are all bangers. Okay, last one. Would you rather have Supergirl on the show as your favorite iteration of her from the past, whatever that may be, but only in one episode? Or have Supergirl on the show, but she does not receive her powers from the Yellow Sun and being Kryptonian like Clark. Oh, she doesn't receive her powers from the Yellow Sun and being Kryptonian like Clark, but instead from technology like the villains of the show. But she will remain on the show for the rest of the run.
No, I do not. Two thumbs down on Supergirl having technology powers. I would be very upset. I want her to be a Supergirl that I like, that I've known from the past. I think I would rather choose that, even if it's just for one episode. I've kind of been going with it for the season, like understanding that these suits and these things that Task Force X has been wearing are related to the Space Armada alien invasion. So I've been kind of going with that storyline, but I'm not crazy about it that all the villains are technology based. So I think I would be very unhappy, I think, if Supergirl was to go down that path. So I would go for one episode and she was the Supergirl that I liked from the past.
This one's a tough one because I love Supergirl, so I want her to be in a bunch of the show. But also I don't want her to be like a technology Supergirl. That seems lame. I don't want her to be like a robot Supergirl who's like beep bop boop, hello Clark. So I think I'm also gonna go with my favorite version of Supergirl, who is actually Supergirl, and she only shows up for one episode. I'll take the real version for a short amount of time versus the technology version for a long amount of time.
Agreed. New Rachel in the chat says, but the question should be, is she going to have pants? I think that is something that we would need to know whenever there is a Supergirl who shows up on the show, no matter what the form is that she takes. Well, I think that's going to take us out of Snap Judgments. If there's anything else in the chat, we'll get to it after Snap Judgments, I guess. No judgments on your snap judgments. Do we have anything else in the chat we need to catch up on?
Good question. I did see. Brian said, "I hope we get I hope we get headband Supergirl from the '80s."
It's possible.
Listen, anything is possible. That was a cool headband. So,
yeah, she had the headband in the comics during the run of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and she was supposed to have it in the Supergirl the movie, but they got rid of it once they started getting into the actual shooting of the production of Supergirl the movie. So they got rid of it after they had done all of the pre-planning. So there is no headband in that movie. Also, I should mention that Ryan did continue that email. So we're not totally finished with Ryan's email. So I wanted to wrap it up. Ryan continues, quote, "Also still hoping you do a top 20 Supergirl moments as a future episode." Now, Ryan, I will say 20 is a lot. We tend to go long on these Supergirl Radio episodes. So
we do.
If we did 20, like even if we did 20 as a whole, and maybe Morgan had 10 and I had 10, we would we'd be here for like 4 hours, I think, because we would talk about each moment, and it would take a long time to do. But maybe we could do like a top 5.
Yeah, we sure could do a top 5. 20 is too. You don't even want to listen to what the podcast of that would end up being.
So maybe sometime in the future we'll maybe think of a top 5 for each of us, and maybe we can, or top 3, maybe even a top 3.
Yeah.
That might be a more listenable episode if it was the top 3. So we'll keep that in mind. And Ryan closes out. "Hope you are both doing well, and I'm excited to continue listening to your future podcasts." Unquote. So thank you, Ryan, for continuing to listen to us after the show was over. And hope you enjoy the rest of my adventures with Superman, because we sure have. So please join us every time you end an episode of My Adventures with Superman and come hang out with us.
Great snap
Radio.
judgments.
Yes, send us more snap judgments. We will take them. Okay, well, I think this is going to be the part of the episode where we're going to get to some Supergirl Radio and some DC TV podcast plugs. If you would like to contact Supergirl Radio, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, you can call us at 678-718-7252. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Podchaser, and Spotify, where we also have a Spotify playlist that includes music featured on and inspired by the CW Supergirl TV series. We are listed on DC's fan page, which you can find at dccomics.com/DC-fans. If you like what we do, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you enjoy our Supergirl Radio live streams, make sure to subscribe to the DC TV Podcast YouTube channel and hit that notification bell to get notified when we go live and wired. DC TV Podcast also has a TeePublic store, so if you're in need of new DC TV related t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, onesies, mugs, notebooks, pillows, or stickers, go to supergirlradio.com and click on the TeePublic store link at the top of the page.
Now see here, Supergirl Radio is part of the DC TV Podcast Network, so if you want to listen to other shows, we've got The Flash Podcast, Legends of Tomorrow Podcast, The Lituation Room, DC on HBO Max Podcast, Stargirl Podcast, Superman and Lois Radio, Green Lantern Podcast, The Sandman Podcast, DC TV After Dark, and Justice League Dark Podcast.
And we have some designs related to Zero Day Part 2 in the DC TV Podcast TeePublic store that we would love to suggest.
Yeah, we have got some Task Force X or Suicide Squad related merch. So if you like the Suicide Squad / Task Force X, we've got that in the DC TV Podcast TeePublic store. So definitely check it out. Anytime, just so people know, like you can go to our store and click on a link or using the link from our website. You can click on that link and then you can even buy something that's outside of our store after you click on that link. So you don't have to stay with just our store. You can go surfing around looking for other things as well. But we've collected a lot of cool DC merchandise in our store. So hopefully you'll find something there that you like. We definitely have some good Suicide Squad stuff there if you are into that. We would also like to thank our legion of super sponsors for supporting the Supergirl Radio Patreon. These people are Michael, Anne Marie, Yvonne, Quinn, Nicola, Abby, Miriam, Nicole, Brian, Ethan, Danny, Majuba, and Lingonberry. If you would like to become a legion of super sponsor, please visit patreon.com/Supergirl Radio. We have actually been doing some pilot pods here. So we did a pilot pod on the first episode of the Teen Titans animated series, not Teen Titans Go, the Teen Titans animated
Just the regular kind, not the ones that are going.
They're not going anywhere. And we also did a pilot pod recently on Batman the Brave and the Bold. So we talk about Batman the Brave and the Bold and a little Blue Beetle talk, just because Blue Beetle shows up in that episode. So we're doing some pilot pods, and we'll be doing more of those, aiming to do them monthly. So if you are interested in our reviews about other TV shows in the DC Comics universe, check out the Supergirl Radio Patreon. We've got some cool stuff coming up. And if you would like to catch up with me on the social medias, you can find me on Instagram at the Derby Kid. I'm hoping to do some Dragon Con content coming up, because Dragon Con is happening this weekend. So if you want to follow along with my adventures in Atlanta, you can follow me on Instagram at the Derby Kid. And I have a YouTube channel that you can find at youtube.com/duckmilkprod, where I hope to put some panels that I'll be doing at Dragon Con up. Hopefully I'll maybe be able to do video and audio, but we'll see. It may just be audio, just because I don't want to carry a tripod around. So we'll see how that goes. But I will be on 2 Dragon Con panels in Atlanta this weekend. On Saturday, I'll be talking about Superman and Lois season 3 at 1 p.m. in the Marriott in rooms M302 and M303. And Sunday, I'll be discussing the Flash movie and the end of the Snyderverse in that same set of rooms at 11:30 a.m. I initially was just going to do Superman and Lois, and I put on the form, like, if you need me for the Flash movie, I guess I can come. And so I guess they needed a backup person. So I opened up the Dragon Con app, and I was kind of flipping through the schedule, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm on this panel. Okay.
Oh my gosh, they didn't even let you know.
So I'm glad I looked at that.
Yeah, they should be too.
Because it said my name in there. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to be in the panel. So if you're going to be in Atlanta at Dragon Con this weekend, come by and say hi. And if you can't, I'll be releasing those as Supergirl Radio episodes, because somebody is going on an international trip soon, and I need some content while she's away. So even if Morgan can't be with me for a couple of weeks, we'll still have Supergirl Radio content where you'll just have to put up with me for a little while. But hopefully we'll have some good stuff coming from Dragon Con.
Well, I can't wait to hear the Dragon Con stuff. I'm gonna have maybe some long bus rides in Italy, so maybe I'll catch up. But until then, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Mojotastic, and you can find me as a co-host on the Legendary Ladies podcast, where we just released an episode about season 2 of the audio drama Impact Winter, and we have some fun stuff coming up, including a pilot pod on A League of Their Own, the show that Amazon was like, we love this show. And then they canceled it. And then they're like, never mind. People really love this show. We're going to uncancel it. And so they uncanceled it.
Are you serious?
No, it's not even done. So they canceled it. And then they uncanceled it because the fan outcry. And they were like, well, we're going to do like another short season or something. But then they canceled it again. They canceled it twice. It show's so nice. They canceled it twice. They're blaming the writer's strike. They're like, these writers and performers wanting to get paid livable wages. So it's a bummer. I'm hoping that after the writer's strike, maybe they will change their mind.
They'll uncancel it. Yeah.
They'll uncancel it again, or somebody else will pick it up. But anyway, we'll just be talking about episode 1. So join us.
Is it any different from the movie? I guess I'll have to listen to the episode.
It's pretty different from the movie. I mean, I guess Yeah, it's pretty different from the movie because it's more kind of focusing in on like them coming together as the baseball team, and it's less of the Tom Hanks character who is like in the movie is a pretty big part of the movie, but so far in the show it's been more about the ladies.
Yeah. One of my favorite all-time just life memories, so listeners probably, I don't think this was recorded, but I hopped on, so back in the day, Supergirl Radio used to be recorded over Skype. And one time Morgan and I were going to do an episode. I can't remember what episode it was, but I said something about how I was watching Superstore on NBC. And I was like, yeah,
That's right.
it's great. It's got that chick from A League of Their Own. And Morgan was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, the chick who played Marla Hooch in A League of Their Own. She's in the show. And I was so convinced.
You're like, no, it's Marla. It's Marla Hooch.
And we looked it up. It's definitely not Marla Hooch. I laughed a lot about that. I remember
You
that
had
being
to be there.
I remember that
You
being a
were
really
crying because of the Marla Hooch thing.
that is one of my favorite all-time life moments, and I don't think I have that recorded anywhere, but it
It's
was
too bad
great.
we weren't recording it I think we were mad afterwards that we hadn't been recording it. We were like, that was gold, baby.
It was pretty funny. So if there is a Marla Hooch on that show, I would be into knowing about it because she was like one of my favorite characters in the movie. So let me know if a Marla Hooch ever does show up. Well, this is not about A League of Their Own or baseball, but definitely go check it out on the Legendary Ladies podcast. Is that the one with Mike in it? Mike was on an episode with y'all recently.
He was actually, yeah. It was the last one that we released last week, the Impact Winter episode, because he listened to season 1 with me in the car, and I was like, season 2, time to go. So he listened to season 2. Kat didn't listen to either of them. So Mike was our replacement Kat on that episode.
Good. Okay, so I haven't missed the A League of Their Own. It sounds like
No, we're recording that this week. So
okay, so I'll definitely have to check that out. Okay, well, that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until next time, I'm still Rebecca Johnson.
And I'm still Morgan Glennon. And remember, nobody knows the streets of Metropolis better than the News Kid Legion.
McGurk! I love
Not
typing.
mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because her outfit,
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
no.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.